All right, so you know how sometimes you're just going about your day and you come across a bunch of totally different things, but then you start to notice these weird little echoes between them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like those unexpected connections that make you pause and go, huh, that's interesting.
Exactly, and that's precisely what happened when I dove into the fascinating collection of books you sent me from Osber's Suspiciously Serious Show.
Really? What was it about those books that caught your attention?
Well, the deeper I got, the more these bizarre connections just started popping out. It was like finding unexpected rhymes in completely different poems.
Intriguing. So what kind of connections were we talking about here?
Well, for starters, there's this recurring theme of divine beings or some kind of higher power getting involved in the human story. It pops up in various forms across these books.
You know, that's a really common thread throughout human history, this idea that there's something bigger than ourselves out there, something that influences our lives.
Right. And it's not just a vague notion either. Some of these books get pretty specific. One of them even mentions the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob, which instantly brings to mind a very particular religious tradition.
Yeah, and that raises interesting questions right away about which tradition is being invoked and how it plays into the overall narrative of the book.
And then another one talks about God in all things and of all things in God, along with the general concept of a supreme being. It's a different flavor of the divine, but still pointing to something beyond our everyday experience.
It's like they're all grappling with this idea of a higher power, but expressing it in different ways, sometimes very specific and sometimes more abstract and universal.
Exactly. And to make things even more interesting, there's a third book that brings up angels and Allah, which connects it to Islam, another Abrahamic tradition. So we're seeing these different threads weaving together already.
It seems like there's a definite focus on Abrahamic religions here, at least in these particular books.
Yeah, and to top it all off, another one throws in the concept of a father universal, and even suggests that tiny fragments of this divine being actually reside within us humans. Talk about a personal touch.
That's a pretty mind-blowing concept, right? There's this idea in some spiritual traditions that we all carry a spark of the divine within us.
It definitely makes you think about our place in the universe and the nature of our connection to whatever or whoever might be out there.
Absolutely. And it leads us to another interesting similarity that you notice the presence of sacred text or divine revelations guiding human behavior and understanding. It's like we've been given a set of instructions for how to live.
Right, like a cosmic rule book or a user manual for life. One book presents the Bhagavad Gita as this incredible source of wisdom, even referring to it as a song that inspires us towards love and life.
The Bhagavad Gita is full of profound insights into human nature and the nature of reality. It's no wonder it's considered a sacred text by millions.
And then we have another book that focuses on the Quran, describing it as a guide for humanity, filled with clear signs of guidance and the criterion, basically a way to navigate right and wrong.
The Quran is central to Islamic faith and practice. It offers moral and spiritual guidance for believers and plays a significant role in shaping their worldview.
And according to one of the books, the Book of Mormon was written to convince people to come to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, emphasizing actions and beliefs that are pleasing to this deity. It's like a roadmap to a specific religious path.
Interesting. So we're seeing this idea of sacred texts serving as guides to a particular faith or set of beliefs.
Precisely. And here's where things get really interesting. One of the books mentions the Torah and claims that hidden messages were found within it using computer analysis. It's like the ancient text has a secret code.
That's a fascinating claim, and one that's been debated for decades. Some people believe these codes are evidence of divine inspiration, while others see them as mere statistical coincidences.
Regardless, it's a pretty wild idea, right? Like the Torah might contain predictions or warnings about future events.
It makes you wonder about the possibilities and the limits of interpreting ancient texts. It's like we're constantly uncovering new layers of meaning.
And to round out this whole concept of divine guidance, we have the Urantia book, which, according to the show, aims to provide a complete conceptual framework for understanding the relationship between God and humanity.
The Urantia book is a truly unique text with a complex cosmology and a detailed account of human history and evolution. It definitely falls into that category of books that try to offer a big picture perspective.
So it seems like these books from Osber's Suspiciously Serious Show are all touching on this idea that we're not just wandering around aimlessly. There's some form of guidance, whether it's a specific scripture or a broader philosophy.
Yeah, there's this sense that we've been given tools or signposts to help us navigate life's big questions.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper. Another strange similarity that emerged was the focus on moral choices, sin and redemption, or facing the consequences of our actions. It's like they're all exploring this fundamental human struggle between right and wrong.
Absolutely. The Bhagavad Gita, for example, depicts Arjuna wrestling with a moral dilemma on the battlefield. He's torn between his duty and his personal feelings, and the whole conversation with Krishna centers around understanding righteous action.
That's a powerful image, the warrior facing his own family and teachers in battle and questioning the very nature of his duty.
It speaks to the complexities of moral decision-making when there are no easy answers.
Meanwhile, another book delves into the Quran's detailed teachings on right and wrong. It lays out specific prohibitions, but also offers the possibility of divine forgiveness. It's a system with clear boundaries and the potential for redemption.
Many religious traditions have this idea of a divine law that sets boundaries for behavior and offers a path to forgiveness or atonement.
The Book of Mormon, according to the show, also emphasizes avoiding things that are not of value to the children of men. It's about making choices that align with divine principles.
It's like a call to focus on what truly matters in a spiritual sense.
And remember those hidden codes in the Torah? Well, some interpretations suggest they might even offer warnings or predictions about future events, hinting at the potential consequences of our actions. It's like a layer of premonition woven into the text.
That's a very intriguing interpretation, and one that would definitely add a sense of weight to the concept of moral responsibility.
And finally, the Urantia book defines sin as conscious and voluntary opposition to the will of the Father, framing wrongdoing as a deliberate act against a divine order.
It's interesting how they define sin in such a specific way. It implies a clear understanding of what constitutes right and wrong, and the consequences of choosing to go against that.
So even though these books come from different perspectives, they all seem to converge on this idea of moral accountability and the impact our choices have on ourselves and maybe even the world around us.
It's like this underlying recognition that our actions matter, and they have repercussions both in this life and possibly beyond.
All right, one last strange similarity that I couldn't shake was the recurring theme of prophets or messengers who act as a bridge between the divine and humanity. It's like there's always someone tasked with conveying the will of the higher power to us regular folks.
It's a classic archetype. The prophet, the messenger, the one who receives divine revelation and shares it with the world.
Exactly. The Bhagavad Gita has Krishna stepping into this role, guiding Arjuna and revealing profound truths about the universe.
Krishna's role as a charioteer and a guide is central to the Bhagavad Gita. He represents the divine presence intervening in human affairs.
And then we have the prophets sent before in the Quran, as described by another book. Their role is to deliver messages from God, both warnings and good news.
Prophets play a crucial role in many religious traditions. They act as intermediaries between the divine and the human, conveying the will of God and guiding people towards a righteous path.
Moses also appears in multiple texts, often connected to receiving divine scripture. He's a key figure in both Judaism and Christianity, representing that direct connection to God's law.
Moses is revered as a prophet and a lawgiver. His role in leading the Israelites out of slavery and receiving the Ten Commandments is foundational to these faiths.
And let's not forget the Urantia book itself, which kind of presents itself as a form of revelation, offering new insights about the cosmos. It's like a message delivered in book form.
The Urantia book claims to be a revelation from celestial beings, offering a comprehensive account of God, humanity, and the universe. It's a fascinating and complex text that has attracted a devoted following.
So the consistent presence of these figures, guides, prophets, messengers, revealers, really highlights this idea that we're not left completely in the dark. We're given direction and support from those who are believed to have a special connection to the divine.
It speaks to a deep human need for guidance and reassurance, especially when it comes to life's big questions about meaning, purpose, and the nature of reality.
Okay, so we've explored all these wonderfully weird similarities across the books, from Osber's suspiciously serious show. But now let's dive into the truly bizarre stories within each one. Are you ready for this roller coaster of narratives?
Bring it on. I'm always up for a good dose of the strange and unexpected.
Well, first up, we have the Bhagavad Gita. And while it's set on this epic battlefield, the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna takes some pretty surreal turns. I mean, picture this Arjuna facing his own family and teachers in this massive war, and he's having a full-blown existential crisis right there on the front lines.
His internal struggle is so relatable. He's questioning everything his duty, his role in this conflict, the devastating consequences of the battle ahead. It's a very human moment in the midst of all this epic grandeur.
And then Krishna drops this mind-bending concept about the soul being eternal and the physical body being temporary, like just changing clothes. It's a pretty wild perspective shift when you're staring down the reality of death.
Right. It introduces this whole other dimension to life and death, a perspective that transcends the immediate physical realm.
And then there's the concept of divine incarnations, with Krishna revealing himself as the Lord appearing on Earth to restore balance. It's not just a philosophical discussion, it's a cosmic being stepping into human history.
The idea of divine incarnations is found in many religious traditions. It speaks to this belief that the divine can manifest in human form to guide and teach humanity.
And the climax of it all is when Krishna shows Arjuna his divine vision, this overwhelming display of the interconnectedness of the entire universe. Imagine witnessing that kind of cosmic panorama. It would be mind-blowing.
It's a pivotal moment in the Bhagavad Gita. It's about experiencing the vastness and unity of all things and understanding your place within that grand scheme.
All right, moving on to the Book of Mormon. One of the more peculiar directives mentioned is this instruction to not fill the sacred plates with things that are not of value to the children of men, but rather with things that please God. It's a specific editorial focus, to say the least.
It's like they were carefully curating the content of the text, focusing on spiritual and moral teachings rather than mundane details.
And now let's talk about the Quran. This one gets into some seriously specific rules and regulations, like the detailed procedures around fasting during Ramadan. It's not just a suggestion, it's a structured practice.
Detailed rules and rituals are common in religious traditions. They provide a framework for religious observance and help believers connect with their faith on a practical level.
And then we have the stories of messengers being sent to past communities who face some pretty severe consequences for ignoring the divine warnings. It's like a cautionary tale woven throughout the text.
These narratives often serve as moral lessons, highlighting the importance of heeding divine guidance and the potential consequences of disobedience.
We also get these incredible stories like Moses confronting Pharaoh and the magicians complete with staffs transforming into serpents. It's like something straight out of a Hollywood movie.
These miraculous events are central to many religious narratives. They demonstrate the power of the divine and the authority of its messengers.
And let's not forget the vivid descriptions of paradise and hell. It's a powerful way to depict the afterlife and the ultimate consequences of our actions.
The concept of heaven and hell is a powerful motivator in many religions. It provides a framework for understanding reward and punishment and the eternal significance of our choices in this life.
Oh, and the Quran also mentions jinn, these spiritual beings that exist alongside humans, sometimes interacting with our world in unseen ways. It adds a whole other layer to our understanding of reality.
It's like there's a whole unseen world operating alongside our own, a realm of spiritual beings that we may only glimpse occasionally.
And apparently the revelations to the prophets weren't just one-time events, but these ongoing detailed communications. It highlights this continuous unfolding of the divine message over time.
The idea of ongoing revelation is important in many religions. It allows for the adaptation and evolution of religious teachings over time.
Now for the Torah, as presented through the lens of Osber's Suspiciously Serious show, this is where things take a bit of a technological turn. We're talking about hidden codes within the text that supposedly predict historical events like the assassination of Rabin and the Columbia Space Shuttle disaster.
Yeah, that's a pretty mind-boggling claim. It raises all sorts of questions about the nature of prophecy and the possibility of finding hidden messages within ancient texts.
And the discussion about whether these codes are warnings or simply descriptions of potential outcomes, that's a fascinating philosophical debate.
It gets to the heart of free will versus determinism. Are we seeing a fixed future or simply possibilities?
But the really wild part is the suggestion that these codes might have been discovered by computer. It brings a modern element into the interpretation of an ancient text.
It's like ancient wisdom meeting modern technology. It makes you wonder what other secrets might be hidden within these texts, waiting to be uncovered.
Finally, we have the Urantia book, which offers some truly out-there narratives, like the story of Adam and Eve arriving on Urantia. That's Earth, by the way, to improve human genetics. But things go awry because of Eve's error.
It's a unique take on the Adam and Eve story, highlighting the idea of a fall from grace and the consequences of disobedience.
And then there's the assertion that a fragment of God resides in the mind of every human being over the age of 6. It's like we all have this divine spark within us.
The idea of an indwelling divine presence is found in many spiritual traditions. It speaks to a deep connection between the human and the divine.
But the one that really got me thinking was the concept of this vast universal administration dedicated to the evolution of material creatures. It's like there's a cosmic management system in place.
It paints a picture of a universe that's not just random, but actively guided and nurtured towards greater complexity and development.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here, from strange similarities to truly bizarre stories. Osber's suspiciously serious show has definitely given us a lot to ponder.
Absolutely. These books offer a glimpse into the vast and varied landscape of human thought and belief. They explore profound questions about our place in the universe, the nature of good and evil, and the possibility of divine guidance.
It's amazing to see how these seemingly unrelated works touch on so many similar themes. It makes you wonder about the underlying patterns that connect human experience across cultures and throughout history.
So to our listeners, what are your thoughts? Do these strange connections point to some deeper truth, or are they simply fascinating coincidences?
What do these stories tell us about ourselves and our place in the cosmos?
We encourage you to explore these books for yourselves and draw your own conclusions.
Maybe you'll uncover even more bizarre connections and mind-boggling narratives.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and remember, keep an open mind, stay curious, and don't believe everything you hear.
Especially on the internet.
Especially on the internet.
But seriously, folks, keep those critical thinking skills sharp.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay skeptical. You never know what wonders await in the weird and wonderful world of Osber's suspiciously serious show.